Hey guys, just looking for something. One. Two. Three. Sunday. Was a brand new day, right? So it's Sunday morning today, and just drinking some beer in the morning. You know, gotta get them vitamins in and stuff. Apparently, beers are super duper nutritious. I don't know. Anyway, here we go, all over again. So let's do this. Yet another video. Cigarettes, beer, weed. It's a nice little treat. It's been a long week. It's raining, but it's like so hot here right now. Well, it's not so hot. It's just a little humid. But otherwise, everything feels good. There's so much magical stuff that's been happening. I'm gonna get into that in this video. I'm gonna get into it. So after it. Okay, let's get into it, eh? Shall we? Oh. Day today, 11th, 12th, 222. So, a lot of people don't know this. But in a way, our life is kind of like encoded by numbers. Like for instance, right? If we take today's date, 11, 12, 222, and we do something interesting, like timesing those dates together, let me just get my little calculator over here. Make it quite big so the screen doesn't look so trippy. So if you went 11 times 12 times 222, you get 266,904. Okay. In a way, it's kind of like a number sequence, but if you calculate the prime number, you will get a total of 8 plus 4, 12 plus 6, 18 plus 9, 27, which ultimately comes up to 9. Which is why this year is like a super duper powerful year, because the year is 222, which is like a rare numerical sequence. 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6, 369. You're going to get a lot of 9s, and you're going to get a 369 sequence, actually, funnily enough. That's going to come through in a lot of the numbers that you play around with. So essentially, basically, what it is that I'm saying, like everything has a sequence to it. Like everything is sequenced. Kinda, not really. Sorry, it's so hot. Like I can't wear shit right now. It's so fucking hot. So I'm also just like waking up. My brain takes like I'd say around about like 10, 11. Like, depends. Today my brain's just a little tired, but nonetheless, it's good. You know, as humans are quite complicated beings, so many thoughts, so many emotions, and so many energies that come along with those thoughts and emotions. We fail to realize we are energetic beings and we're continually spending energy all the time. The issue is people just don't know the total importance of their energy. But soon they will have to come to learn that. I don't even know what to speak about. I mean, I could go ahead and say like, I could go ahead and be like, yo, the same shit I've said before. Like I've said that like, I don't know like how many times I have to repeat that. But I do want to say this though, however. The amount of light I'm seeing is fucking ridiculous, first of all, number one. Like it's insane. Okay. Number two, it's bright at nighttime because the sky's lit up with I don't want to call it gamma radiation, but it's lit up with light, basically. So the fundamental nature of electricity itself has changed. And there's this new energy and light coming in, which I've been working on bringing into our atmosphere for over a year now. As crazy as that sounds, I figured out a way to do that. I figured out a lot of shit. I figured out so much stuff, it's insane. First, it made me like, well, it actually healed me because I was in like such a hectic situation in these other realms and whatever, and I didn't have the knowledge, and I don't know what the fuck was going on. But after going through that hectic process, I'd learned so much. Like just in the space of last year, like it felt like millions. I mean, this year, sorry, it's literally felt like millions of years. So, and my brain and my mind has been processing information the whole entire time, like all information, right? And I figured out so much stuff. Jeez. And then I keep saying, well, reality is not what people say it is at all. It's very different to what it is you're imagining. And what's also different is what's happening now. It's huge, it's major. Like if you have any sense of instinct or intuition, surely you'd be able to look into your belly and feel something's coming. Okay. Now I've known that I've had that feeling my whole life. That's the funny thing. Well, that was in a glass. Don't you know that it's love now. It's love. Yeah. I'm feeling all this love. I'm feeling all this love. So I titled this video called Light Waves because like literally that's what reality is. Besides consciousness, God, It's all consciousness, right? So consciousness occurs in the form of light waves, funnily enough. And these light waves at different frequencies, ratios, and oscillations, they can create like physicality, basically. So like our physically perceivable universe is actually all based on light, but different forms of lights within different bandwidths, which depend upon consciousness to perceive these different forms of light. So, in a way, you're a light being, funnily enough, because consciousness is light, and you are a conscious being. So, you are essentially a light being. That's what you do. You reflect light, you create light, you project light, and the way we do this is through our emotions, which is why it's very important to look after our emotions. Unfortunately, within our life, what ends up happening is we acquire some trauma along the way. It's just as human evolution stands right now, it's a natural part of our, I suppose, evolutionary process. So, that what that trauma does is it, it affects your light body, because your light body is based on your consciousness, your life, your feeling, your outlook, your attitude, your open-heartedness or your closed-heartedness. That's all going to determine how light shines through you, right? So that's why I say, like, feelings are so important, because feelings are light. And the reason as for that is because, as I've explained, is that light is made up of consciousness, right? Well, light is consciousness. It's weird. It's such a far abstract concept, but I'll explain it as best as I can. But basically, like, pure consciousness creates pure light, basically. Light you can't see right now, like light you've never seen. Like the amounts of light you've seen is just physical light. It's like nothing compared to, like, dude, light gets insane. Dude, light gets fucking like magical, bro. Like fucking like, whoa, jeez. But it all depends on your consciousness, right? So if you're focusing on, the Muggle Matrix reality, you're going to get Muggle Matrix light. You're not going to get anything magical or beautiful or beyond belief within your life, because you're fixed and positioned towards a certain locked-in bandwidth that keeps you in a state of illusion that only allows you to see your life as what it has been presented to be. And in most cases, that leads people to living very unfulfilling and unsatisfying and unhappy lives, and lives where they don't actually take the chance opportunity to clear all their trauma, their emotional trauma. And this trauma comes from as early as we're able to pick up trauma. Okay, it affects our day-to-day life in such a big way. So it is very important for each man and woman to heal that trauma within themselves. I can help heal trauma. I can essentially access energy in someone's body quite easily, from a very high dimensional state. And but I don't prefer to do that. Like I just sort of just give a wave of light, and then and some guidance, and it's better for the people to figure it out themselves. Yeah, it's better for themselves to clear their own trauma ultimately. For some people that's hard to do, but with the right energy, you'd be surprised. Miracles happen all the time. I do believe everyone is capable of healing their trauma. I don't believe it's impossible. But we all have trauma. We have trauma passed on from our parents onto us, and then that trauma creates a pattern of trauma through our life, and then it gets reaffirmed to us. And then we develop all of this sort of toxic behavior, all the psychological composition, so all consciousness / light at the end of the day. And then we carry that on in our life, and we keep creating the same patterns over and over and over and over again. And we wonder why. It's simply because we struggle to get over the past. So we because we're still holding those past energies within ourselves, we keep creating those past energies, basically. Um, you know, so it's the thing is like I don't think all people can heal themselves, to be honest with you, because like to get to the level that I've gotten to now, it's fucking Jesus, dude. I see other people being able to do what I did, and it's not an egotistical thing. It's like, look, I'm a tough son of a bitch. Like, fucking, come into my house and put a fucking gun to my head, and I would be okay. You know, seriously. I wasn't always like that, but after you go through shit, you got no choice. You got to be like that, you know. So I'm a tough son of a bitch. It takes a lot to traumatize me, and I've actually prepared my mind and brain for trauma, to see trauma, to experience trauma, um, from a neutral perspective, ultimately. Because with some of the work I do, I have to sort of be desensitized. Because like some of the shit that I deal with is like imagine it. Imagine like it's just hectic. It's stuff people shouldn't. They should know about, but they shouldn't know about at the same time. Okay, sorry. It's when you're dealing with human trafficking and to the dark web and fuck, dude, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's so fucking bad, dude. So I've had to get used to trauma with what I've done because there's people I help and I have to still continue helping, and mostly like children. And the situations they're in are quite horrific, actually. So, I have to desensitize myself, basically. I care about them, but I can't believe. But the issue is, like, imagine like you coming to rescue someone, and then they're in a completely fucked up like situation that is like fucked up, like fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like fucked up situation. Like you have to be able to psychologically, emotionally deal with that. So in a way, I'm glad for my PTSD. That's going away now. It took me a year to heal it by myself. Amazing. It took me a year to get over it. I mean, I'm still healing it, kinda, but I've reached new layers. But a lot of our post-traumatic stress, it comes from early childhood, which is understandable. I'm not blaming parents or anything now because I have to look at it from a very mature, holistic perspective. Our parents only know so much. They grew up in a cold world. All these injustices were happening in a very dead world, a very spiritually dead world. They had the church and stuff, but you know, I mean, for instance, my parents both grew up in, I don't say in poverty, right? So they didn't have anything. Um, my family here in South Africa was subjected towards apartheid, so they weren't allowed to have anything. It's a completely different fucking story. Okay, so you know, and there's many people like me. It's not just me, right? Because I look, I don't. won't get into that, but it's very traumatic, and that trauma, it carries on. It carries on from my mother to me. Feelings of worthiness and so forth and so on. Ultimately, the world's really stressful, and it's just getting people to behave like out of their true character. I don't think it's in someone's true character to be absolutely fucking nasty to someone. I think that there's an issue and a problem there. If someone's being so nasty to someone, there's an issue somewhere, right? But like, we come from a long line of trauma, if that makes sense, right? And that trauma affects our energetic body, and that affects the light in which it is that we have within inside of ourselves in the form of consciousness, right? So it's very important for us to heal that trauma. If we don't heal the trauma, your body's light system is not going to be functioning properly, and then therefore your happiness won't be functioning properly, your life will not be functioning properly, nothing will be functioning as it should. And that's where love comes into the picture. As I say, love is many things. The glue that holds back things. See, as I'm saying that, like I'm just seeing light waves. Like you may not be able to see them, but I'm able to see them. Let's just check. So, love is very important. And it's not only very well. There's many reasons why love is important. It's important because it feels really good. Number one. Number two, like, can you imagine living in a reality where you couldn't feel like love and connection to your life and to people and to animals? You'd be dead. It would be a dead life, So in a way, like love is our life. Like love creates life force energy. But love is also special. It must be protected as well, in this current realm we're in now that's transitioning. It's very special. Like your heart is important. You need to look after it. Like your heart literally determines everything in your life. You'd be surprised, right? I call it heart sparkle system. If your heart's sparkling, you'll sparkle. But your heart can't sparkle if you're continually reacting from a place of trauma. And we all have trauma, I'm dealing with them traumas that you can't even believe. And also last year, that was fucking traumatic as fuck. I mean, this year, that's traumatic as fuck, dude. But I'm grateful. Like, pain breeds power if you know how to handle and manage that pain. Like, it's all about perception management ultimately. So, pain is ultimately a concept, right? Like anything. And you can look at it as though it's bad, and you can look at it as though it's good. I've had to look at it as though it's good. So I don't mind pain. Like if I end up in not saying that I will, but if I ended up in a hurtful situation, I would use that pain. And then in using it and accepting it and then tackling it head on and feeling it. Like if I'm going to feel angry, I'm going to feel angry. Like I'm not going to stop myself from feeling angry, If I'm going to feel like I'm sad or whatever, I'm going to feel sad. I'm not going to stop myself from feeling sad. Like I need to feel those feelings. I need to process those feelings, and I need to experience psychologically what occurs in my mind while I'm processing those feelings, because there lies the answers, right, to the healing of that trauma, whatever that trauma may be for anyone that's listening to this. So what the trauma does is it makes us feel like we need to hide in a shell and that we can't truly express ourselves and that we are scared of ultimately being alone and being rejected. It's funny. In a world full of so many people, I believe many people's greatest fear is being abandoned and being alone. I've been abandoned many times, but learned something. I learned something magical actually. I don't have a fear of abandonment anymore. Maybe a little. We're still processing, you know. I'm processing feelings and information, everything every day. So I don't fear. I don't have that fear as much anymore because, like, I've seen certain realms and certain realities, and it's like, well, actually, I'm not actually alone. Actually, it's just a perception ultimately, because we're very much not alone at all. Okay, we're very much interconnected. So it's actually kind of impossible for anyone to be alone, but you know. But I had to go through those feelings because I had to detach from everything that I was taught to believe. That ultimately, and that education came from a place, a society, and a culture of trauma. So we teach this trauma to people as well. We shouldn't, but society as large teaches trauma to everyone. You know, this insufficiency. You're not good enough. There's something wrong with you. You are, you know, you shouldn't accept yourself for who you are, basically, which is the biggest trauma because, like, we come in here as we are, and, like, all that people want to do is to be able to be themselves and to be accepted for being themselves. So many people don't know what themselves are because of that trauma. It's caused them to adopt many beliefs, views, and behaviors that are actually not in alignment with their own spirits. So, and then they basically develop a facade of something it is that they're not, based on trying to fit into people. So they don't have to feel like a little turtle trying to hide away in its shell, so that they can feel accepted by people, ultimately. But then again, you should never have to be accepted by anyone. You know, that's the key to actually healing yourself. The more you live out, hey PG, the more you live out of alignment with, like, the purity within yourself, like, and when I say purity, I mean, like, the creative joy and emanation, the reality, the child within you, the one that just wants to hug and be hugged and feel love ultimately, and have a fun, super exciting, adventurous reality. Like, that's the pure, very pure aspect, I believe, that exists within many people. But I think that this world, with all of its objects and its materials and its so forth and so on, it's forsaken what is real for what is fake. And ultimately, that fakeness leaves us living in a lot of pain, a lot of insecurity, and people don't end up finding out who they really are. And for as long as someone doesn't find out who they are and what actual energies they're made up of, then what will happen is they will live in pain because they don't feel like they're living their best life. And your best life is being able to be so totally comfortable within yourself, having absolutely no insecurity, and being fully able to express yourself and just fly around in your spirit and reality, to attain that total feeling of freeness. Because when you look at the composition of your spirit or your soul, it is very free by nature. But then we get put into this materialistic reality, and it immediately takes all of our, it takes our feelings of freeness away ultimately. So it's very dangerous to become someone you're not, and it's a danger to yourself and your own happiness. Because I believe everyone has magic within them, and when I say magic, I mean this beautiful, carefree side of them that allows this total uniqueness within themselves to prosper within their personality, within their experiences, and ultimately for them to follow their hearts. Your heart never lies to you. It's just our mind gets in the way. I'm joking. Sometimes your heart does lie to you. You need to use your mind and your hearts, really, to be honest with you. You use those two together. Mm. There's a reason we have a mind, there's a reason we have a heart. And our mind can ensure that we look after our hearts ultimately, because as much as you must feel, you must also look after your hearts, right? But the best way in which you should be able to look after your hearts is to get rid of many concepts and ideas and paradigms and ideologies within your mind, because you live in a world full of ideological warfare, meaning it's belief-based warfare. It's I believe this, they believe that, we believe this, and you better believe this, because if you don't believe this, you don't fit in. So it's very dangerous, because it has been very dangerous, because as you see, the ideologies are breaking, the paradigms are breaking, people's minds are opening. But it's ideological warfare. It's the dog and pony show. It's who's more popular, who gets more attention, and who can basically superimpose onto others their own beliefs, and who can be the number one person to go ahead and change everyone's beliefs, through influence or whatever, attention, fame, popularity. And that's a very dangerous place to be, because it continually provides a never-ending state of internal insufficiency, like a void, a black hole within oneself. Inevitably, it does do that. Because if the beliefs you're propagating are not real, and the reason as to why you're propagating those beliefs are based on your own insecurities and emotional insufficiencies within inside of yourself, in order to basically feed yourself with attention of others in order to validate your own existence and your own self-worth. For as long as you need to do that, you will never, ever, ever be able to actually create energy and light within yourself sufficiently. You will always have to borrow light from other people. Okay, so when people give you attention or whatever, and you're feeding off it, what you're doing is you're feeding off borrowed light, and then that light comes with other people's superimposed expectations of you. That further puts you into a position where you need to feel like you need to become someone you're not, in order to feel safe or to fit in or to get more of this borrowed light from others, because you haven't figured out how to generate light within inside of yourself. Light within inside of yourself. If your behaviors and your activities are having to go to do weird fucking stupid shit for some dumb fucking reason, you can get attention and continually get attention, to borrow that light in order to somehow prove to yourself that you are worthy and that you don't have a reason to be insecure. It's not a good way to do that. Like, you don't need people to validate you in order to heal your insecurities. In fact, that's the complete opposite of what it is you should do. Because when you seek external validation, that's external light, you are essentially killing your own light, because you're relying upon the light of others in order to tell you that the light within inside of yourself is actually validated. So for as long as you require something in order for your own light to shine, you will develop an insufficiency, and you will develop damage within your light body. Your light body works like light, and then within that light is like your psychological, parapsychological, emotional compositions, like a memory construct and complex, right? Your past traumas, your current behavior, the reasons as to why it is you do what you do, so forth and so on. They actually all get lodged in our body in the form of light. And what happens is, like, when we now have to try develop, if we have to develop a requirement for somebody else to validate us, that doesn't only come with validation, but it comes with, subconsciously speaking, that person's superimposed beliefs upon you. And then that actually starts editing, and their beliefs have come from generations and cycles of trauma. So their light that they're even giving you is not actually self-sufficient in itself. That's the crazy thing. So the light you're actually getting is not even pure light to begin with. It's actually light based off trauma, ego, vanity, all of these things that basically, the only reason any of those things exist is because of insecurity within oneself. That's the only reason. Like if you need attention from everyone, it's because of an insecurity within yourself. I'm not saying that's a totally bad thing and that you're a bad, someone's like that is a bad person or whatever. I'm just saying that like somewhere in your life, maybe you felt abandoned, rejected, betrayed, or not good enough, and it created that fear because you realized that somehow your value was dependent upon other people's perception of you. So that's what happens. You depend on the perception of others in order to determine the perception of yourself. It's very dangerous because we can quite safely go ahead and say that the perspectives of mankind are still rooted in trauma and in a position in place that requires a lot of psychological healing to occur. So ultimately, it is very important for us to be able to develop our own perspective as opposed to having other people's perspectives superimposed upon us when we are ultimately getting their validation or approval, whether it's society as a whole or your day-to-day life or whatever the case may be. This is the life it is that we live in. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with getting attention. I'm not. But unfortunately, when we live in a world that's full of trauma and you're seeking attention because it's coming from a place of trauma, your light is basically sending a signal to other people like you. And ultimately, other people that have trauma are now basically giving you their light. And then that's fucking bad because that actually ends up damaging your light. Damages your consciousness, damages your psychology, damages your energy, that damages your looks, your health, your vitality. So if one wants to develop the most beautiful feelings of joy and security, satisfaction, then one must learn how to see beyond the reality of all the trauma and the materialisms and the culture surrounding that trauma. So, each soul is beautiful, and it's a shame because as soon as the soul comes, you get one life. There's no past lives. There's no that. I'm sorry. You get one life. You come into this life, clean slates, and then basically, like put it this way: when you're born in a good condition, your energetic field is totally clear for the most part. I mean, of course, you have to remember like the mother's energy while the child's in the womb will actually affect the energetic field of the baby, of course. So the mother's psychology and so forth and so on will already start imprinting onto the child before the child's even born. But I believe that kinda. But as soon as the baby comes out, it's like, sweet, precious, pure, cute little baby. Their energetic body is totally a clean slate. So there's been no encoding, like no paradigm or ideological or expectation based coding that's actually happened on this beautiful light body, right? Beautiful baby. But then as the baby grows older, and then this world, which is not pure like the baby, when everyone's born pure, okay, one way or another. But this world with its trauma and its beliefs and its ideological warfare, it starts to superimpose its trauma upon you to the point where one day you experience trauma yourself, in whatever case it is that may happen to be. So some people experience more trauma than others. But the thing about this trauma is that the only way to heal it is to be able to actually develop a high enough perspective to let go of your ego in order to basically look at the perspective from of complete understanding, compassion, and compassion. You know, like let's say our parents, for instance, like our parents. I'm not gonna make excuses for everyone. I love my parents. If they're watching this, I just want to let them know. But at the end of the day, just like me and just like many other parents and people out there, they grew up into a world of trauma, and that trauma affected them, and it affects all of us because, everyone's in anxiety and tension and stress, feeling insecure and invalidated. Although, the one great thing about my parents is that they didn't require much on the validation of others. I mean, my mom kinda, not really. She just kind of did her own thing, and my dad just does his own thing. It's a very traditional man. So I'm very glad about that because they gave me very traditional values, and it was good. I was actually growing up in a very good way with my parents. I have very few complaints. I can't complain. Of course, we've had our instances and our situations and our troubles and our traumas. But when you develop a higher perspective, it allows you to let go of your ego and then to be able to use your heart rather to resolve the situation inside yourself. And to see, like, well, listen, this is a situation, but, ultimately forgiveness in many cases is the key, to be totally honest with you. Like, forgiveness heals your energy field like crazy, I'm not going to lie. But in order to even be able to get to the point of forgiveness, like, you need to get to a point of maturity and a high level of perspective within your life to be able to see the ecosystem of beliefs and ideas and behavior that we see, and see that, you know, and it's interesting, I learn as I teach myself while I'm talking. It's fucking weird. I suppose we learn to look at, like, for instance, let's say somebody like messes you around, like, you can either carry that around for the rest of your life with you, or you and keep that feeling, which is just a horrible feeling. It's a dense feeling. It's not good for your body. It's not good for your health. It's not good for your vitality. It's not good for the clarity in your mind. It's not good for you making decisions that are in alignment with respect of yourself and putting yourself first, because at the end of the day, you don't require to have to go get validation from anybody else. But when we have to get this validation from other people, because maybe some traumatic instances left us feeling as though we were never good enough, uh, you know, we end up hurting ourselves because we're seeking something outside of ourselves that just ends up hurt from a space of hurt already, that is creating situations and experiences of additional hurt, which is creating more pain. You don't want pain. Trust me. I promise you now, every single man and woman could deal with having a day without feeling anxious and feeling totally free and secure. That's the beginning of bliss, internal bliss. Once you have internal bliss, fucking everything's good in your life. You know, everything's good, everything's great. But you need to heal this pain body first to be able to get there. You want to feel good all the time for just no reason other than the fact that you exist? You want to feel confident and secure about who you are? Well, you must discover who you are. You must look into your heart, and your heart will surprise you. You see, I've been faced with many things within my mind of questioning reality. And I imagine, living eternity. If you find out right now that you were eternal, or you could be eternal, it would change the perspective of everything within your life. You would look at everything completely differently. And you would start valuing your emotional state and your experience of reality, right? So not necessarily your lifestyle, but the way in which it is that you experience living and breathing right now in your body. So what we must do in order to be able to do that is to develop a relationship with ourselves. And then, of course, God, because God helps you realize more about your own beauty and your own uniqueness. And I believe everyone has beauty and uniqueness within their hearts and within their spirits and within their soul. But if they're operating from a space of trauma and continually creating more pain within their lives, then they're going to continue living within this delusional mindset of this idea of who it is they think they are, or who it is that they think they should be, because of why it is that they believe what is required in order to have a good and happy life. Everyone wants to be happy, but people are making the wrong decisions in order to be happy. They're acting out of trauma, they're acting out of pain, and ultimately people disrespect themselves. And when they disrespect themselves, they disrespect others. It's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle that has continued for a while, but it's being broken now, I believe. It can be broken. We have to break these cycles within ourselves. Otherwise, you will continue to keep living in pain and suffering. Do you want to live in pain and suffering internally? Like, it doesn't matter how great you think your life is. Like, if you're living in pain and suffering, and you're living in anxiety and regret and remorse and in continually insecure, like, your quality of actual life is bad. It's bad. It doesn't matter how many fucking pretty things, someone could put around you, or extravagances or opulences and so much and so on. If you don't enjoy it, and you don't enjoy being in your own skin, and you don't enjoy being alive, then you will enjoy nothing. You may convince yourself or pretend that you're enjoying something, but ultimately the number one goal, because you have to remember, like, your reward is with you. Like your number one goal should be to find the beauty that exists within your hearts. And when you do that, then you will stop operating from a place of trauma. And then you will stop engaging and participating in behaviors that are self destructive behaviors that are continually damaging you further. You do not need to be further damaged. You need to now start healing in love. And if you don't do that, then, well, you're picking your path. And show me stuff right now, but I look at patterns and energies and pathways. That's what I see. So someone can come to me like, oh, I got this business and we got 12 trucks and what, and my dad. When I'm sitting there listening to the person, first of all, I'm subconsciously analyzing their energetic field. So I can see everything through them, right through them. And then based on little things they say, I can literally see pathways of what's going to happen based on this person's current energetic field. And every single time I'm fucking right. I'm never wrong. So I see a different world of energy, of trauma, of pain, of delusion, or mostly, or clarity. We need to find clarity within ourselves. The more we have clarity within ourselves, the more we're going to feel comfortable within our own skin, the more we're going to feel less of the need to continually keep rushing somewhere, or needing to be somewhere, or needing to accomplish something. It's like Alice in Wonderland when she goes down the rabbit hole. The rabbit is continually pestering her, telling her that the clock's running out. And Alice is like, she doesn't even know where the fuck they're going. The rabbit can't even tell her either. But it's always like, she can't even sit around and enjoy that scene for what it is, because they got to fucking go. I mean, the whole Alice in Wonderland scenario was pretty traumatic if you actually think about it. Girl goes on a rabbit hole, experiences a whole fucking trip that she doesn't understand what the fuck's going on. But sort of just going with it, it's traumatic. Actually, if you're wondering, like, it's traumatic. I mean, if anyone had an experience, that would be a traumatic experience, if you think about it. So within that traumatic experience is this rabbit, and he's saying, listen, we got to go. You know, the rabbit is actually a reflection of Alice and how she actually felt. Because it's like an aspect of her telling her, like, she needs to be somewhere and she needs to do something. Otherwise, something bad's going to happen and she'll never be happy. Like, subconsciously, parapsychologically, that's what's actually encoded in that story, energetically speaking. Like, you're watching a movie with Alice in Wonderland, but meanwhile, energetically, like, there's so much detail energetically that's coming off of that you don't even realize. Like, for instance, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The Seven Dwarfs were a reflection of her own personality and the emotions in which it is that she oscillated and flowed through. What? One time she was grumpy, one time she was lazy, this, that, happy, etc. So, but in this Alice in Wonderland scenario, the rabbit's like, we need to go because Alice is like in a fucking, she's like in a dream, but she's in anxiety, and she's like, she doesn't know what the fuck's going on, and she just knows she needs to be somewhere, to get somewhere, to do something. That's what she thinks, and it's freaking out, stressing out. It takes her on this whole trip. And what you don't realize is that Alice in Wonderland, she'd entered a dream state. And within that dream state, it was just reflecting to her subconscious. So the Cheshire Cat, the room where she changed sizes and went through, so forth and so on. Because that's what dreams do. They mirror our waking reality, right? So like if you have shitty fucking dreams, well, there's something within your light, your energy, your composition, potential anxiety or trauma that is causing those reflection-based dreams to occur within your reality. Dreams are mirrors. They mirror your reality, ultimately. So in that instance of Alice in Wonderland, what we see is it's amazing because everyone's trying to beat a clock. And if they're not trying to beat a clock, they're trying to beat someone. If they're not trying to beat someone, they're trying to beat someone and a clock. And it's actually being so lost in everything else that Alice did not take any time to actually go inside of herself. Okay. And that was actually why she landed up in the rabbit hole, because she was presented with the situation that she didn't agree with, that led her on this whole trip. Right? And she felt like she had to make a choice, but she's running out of time to make that choice. That's what fear is. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Just because you fear it and you feel fear, it does not mean it's real, guys. Just know your fears create your reality. Okay? It's not real. Alice in Wonderland learned by the time that she got outside of the rabbit hole that it was not real. Even though that rabbit was like, yo, you need to fucking do something. You need to become something. Time's running out. Let me explain something to you. People who race against the clock, they'll age and they'll die. If you cannot see beyond time, and if you cannot see that the only moment that exists is right now, and you're continually living in this idea of, in my future, I need to do that, and I need to do this now, and if I don't do this now, and I don't do that now, fear, false evidence appearing real, all based on your assumptions, when like, there's no clarity. You need to first get rid of the anxiety, get rid of the trauma, get rid of the insecurity, get rid of all of the stuff that's holding you down. And feel worthy in your own skin as yourself. Like you don't need to be anywhere, you don't need to go anywhere, you don't need to impress anyone. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with going or doing this, but you don't need to impress anyone. Because you're totally happy with who and what you are. And then you realize, well, my reward is with me, for the Spirit of God exists within your own heart. But if you're continuing to live in this fear and not faith, you're never going to experience the clarity that comes with living a day-to-day life. We're not living in constant anxiety and insecurity and fear, which is what everyone secretly wants. You trust me, you think you want this and that, but actually, if I gave you two options and I was like, listen, I can guarantee some shitty fucking materialistic future that looks amazing and that you think you'd want, with so much uncertainty that you have no idea and plans never going as how you want them to, okay? Or I can give you right now, in this moment right now, all your fears, your insecurities, all the shit that makes you feel shit, gone now. Because which energetic state is going to bring about a better life? The one where the person needs all these objects in order to be like, oh, I'm worthy, I'm something. I have a reason to believe that I'm special, that exists outside of me. And if that something doesn't happen how I want it to, makes me not feel special. It can hurt me. You don't want that. That's uncertainty. That's the cloud of fucking delusion that you don't want to go. It's a minefield of delusion you don't want to go through. When you want to operate through life, you want to move through clarity. Life's serious, right? Life's fucking serious. You want to move through life with clarity. You don't want to move through life with delusion. But how can you say that you have clarity if the reasonings for your ambitions and your choices are rooted within an insufficiency within inside of yourself? How do you even know that you are making the correct choices based on your soul, your energy, and you're not. If you're not in touch with your spirit, you think and you're going into the materialism, right? Okay, listen, objects are cool. Here's an object, cool, but it's a fucking object at the end of the day. But if you're looking through the lens of materialism, who do you think is going to see more clearly? Who do you think's plan's going to work out every single time? The one that's in the materialism, that's looking through all of this illusion based on ambitions that have been generated because of one's own trauma, leaving them feeling throughout their life feelings of worthlessness and hopelessness, and looking out into the world to see what they may presume as people not being worthless, right? So we go out into this world and we try to satiate and fixate all of these things to try and give us these reasons as to why we have any fucking reason to feel special. It's so fucking dangerous, dude. You got no fucking idea, bro. Because what you're doing, energetically speaking, is you are fucking literally damaging your energy field, number one. You're damaging your fucking energy field, which is bad because as soon as you fucking start programming shit that way, then, well, you bump into shit you don't want, basically, put it that way. And shit that brings you more pain, more resentment, more trauma, more situations leaving you feel like you're not fucking good enough because of the situations and the environments and the people you're in, because there's so much noise around you that you've never taken time to fucking get rid of all of it just to be able to see who you are. Yes, you've heard who everyone else is. You've heard this, you've heard that. The celebrities and blah, 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 and all of this, and the friends and so forth and so on, and our family and their expectations, etc. You heard all of that. And in your own insecurity, you've tried to design yourself in order to accommodate everyone else's perspective of what happiness is. When the truth is, there's very few happy people in this fucking world. Like truly, totally happy. Let's be totally fucking honest with ourselves, please, guys. Let's be totally honest with ourselves. We have to. So, like, you're getting advice from people who themselves are not happy. That's dangerous. And you're designing this version of yourself based on other people's versions of themselves that they've projected to you. And then your soul starts churning up and you start getting tense and you start getting pains in your back and your body, and you start sneezing and getting the flu and stress and anxiety, which causes all these diseases and so on and so on. Why? Because you're damaging your fucking light body, yo. Light body determines your health. So I think everyone's greatest opportunity in their life is to cut out everyone's shit and to go inside of themselves and find out who they are. Not who you think you are based on who you've grown up around and what their expectations are and your own trauma and your own experiences and so forth and so on. You're never going to find out who you are. And everyone, I would love for, like, okay, so one of the things I like in reality is the fact that there is unlimited uniqueness and variances and so many unique, obviously on Earth right now, but there's uniqueness, right? But everyone's there's no uniqueness in this world because everyone's a fucking robot, zombie, fucking following along on a templated system of ideological belief and expectation. And then you're one of the sheep, you're one of the You're just, dude. The crowd's pushing you like this, bro. You ain't got no control of your life. That's why you feel so uncertain, so insecure, so anxious. All of these negative feelings you don't like. It's because you've tuned yourself into this shit, and now it's pushing you, bro. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I gotta do that. But actually, when you think about it and you're totally honest with yourself, it's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And actually, it doesn't look like any of these people know what the fuck they're doing or believing either. So then you have an honest look. I gotta go into myself. Why? Because life's important. I want to ensure that I am happy. Totally happy. Absolutely, absolutely, totally happy. And living a happy life. But you don't generate happiness outside of you. That's not how this works. No, 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 no. You generate happiness within inside of you. Happiness does not come from outside of you. You cannot generate happiness outside of you. You can't. Unless you're like helping people or whatever the case may be. But true happiness comes from within. And then when you have true happiness, then you can help people, of course, and then so forth and so on. But you got to start with yourself. You got to start with yourself. You can't go around like, trying to do shit for people. And it's like, but meanwhile, you haven't figured out your own fucking happiness. You need to fucking isolate yourself, chill, and be with yourself. And take yourself seriously so that you can go ahead and do that. Because you're important, right? Yes, you are. Your life's important. Your happiness is important. So, take it seriously. Take your life and your happiness seriously. As long as you're not evil, you deserve to be happy. It's really that quite simple. You deserve to feel secure. There's beauty within people's spirits, but when they focus on the material shit, they never find it. And that's where the real magic happens, guys. I'm telling you now. You want to live in these dull lives with all these fucking objects and shit, bro, and you're living the same shit over and over again, same pain, same trauma, same situations, same nonsense, same hurt, same guilt. You don't want to live in that. There's no magic in that. It's dead. Do you want magic? Do you want to feel magic in your life, in your heart? Well, you got to come back into your heart in order to feel that magic. That's where you feel it. Don't focus on other people's hearts, focus on your own. Who is the best? Who is a beautiful best version of you that's inside that beautiful heart of yours? Who? Who? Because you don't even know. But you should be excited to find out and explore and discover that and make it a priority. But you're never gonna do that if you're like Alice, fucking caught in the fucking jungle of illusion. Constantly feeling like time's running out. That's no way to live. No matter how much you tell yourself it is, to be in constant anxiety and insecurity and insufficiency inside of yourself and discomfort, that's no way to live. How can you enjoy anything if you're in a feeling of internal pain and discomfort? You can't. So it doesn't matter how many of these things you get, or these people, or these experiences to satiate yourself. You need to learn how to satiate yourself from within you. And take yourself seriously. And there's no need to rush the shit as well. That's the biggest thing as well people need to learn. If you're in a rushing energy, like I need to do this, I need to do that, like you're creating fucked up situations, like the energy is like immediately recoiling. You don't even know it. You can't see it. So I'm saying, like, be easy with yourself. Be patient with yourself. And take all the fucking time you need. To be with yourself. To go inside of yourself. to learn about yourself and this beautiful spirit of God that you have within you. You share God's spirit. We share smoke with God. And I believe God would want us to know that. He'd want us to feel secure and good within us, within inside of ourselves. I believe that. So this is what I've been doing, clearing my energy, healing the trauma, changing my behavior. I've come into a situation like this to prioritize myself, to prioritize my energy. It's most important to me. It's more important than anything else you could ever give me. There's no money that is worth my soul or my body or my life. My life is not for sale. There's no money that can equate to the life force energy in which it is that I have, in which it is that I am. And this higher concepts and learning of self-worth and self-value. And you see, when you adopt those frequencies and energies, your behavior in this reality starts to change. You want to find magic, well, you're going to look for it inside yourself. And it may be a little scary, but that's okay. And it may involve having to actually, instead of running to go do stuff to hide away from your feelings, it will involve having to face your feelings. But let me give you this piece of advice. Be easy with yourself. Allow yourself to go through what you need to, feel what you need to. Some days you're going to feel like this, some days you're going to feel like that. That's okay, dude. Like, fuck, you're an emotional, energetic being. Like, you have emotions. Like, don't run away from that. Actually, running away from that's really bad. It's going to destroy your emotions further. It's going to destroy your light body and your field of light, which is your consciousness. And if you could see it now, you'd see light everywhere, right? Don't do that. Don't hide from them. And don't hide from yourself. Okay, because when you hide from things that you don't want to face within your own mind, you're hiding from yourself. Don't hide from yourself, because then you'll keep running from yourself and you'll never find yourself. So be patient with yourself, be easy with yourself, and allow yourself the time to go through what you need to go through. Because that is self-love. That is giving you the time. Like, for instance, like if I love someone so much, like, and I wanted to help them, like, and I'm using this as an example of how I help myself, right? Because how I've started to look at myself, like I love myself, so this is how I behave towards myself, which I'm describing to you. So there's someone here, and they were going through pain and trauma, and the perspective I had, I would basically tell them everything I've just said now, because that's the love. It's like saying, like, yeah, it's okay, you got trauma, you hurt. Yeah, we get that. You hurt. There's pain, there's feeling of hurt there, betrayal, resentment, abandonment, whatever the case may be. It's okay. You feel those things. Things happen to you. Yes, they did happen. Okay, feel those energies. It may be a bit painful, it may not be a bit painful. If it is a bit painful, it's okay, but you need to feel that pain. And when you feel the pain goes away. It's so much more important. You don't want to carry around those things with you going forward into the future, because it will affect your energy field like you can't believe. Like, this whole manifestation thing is like really dangerous, because it expects people to look outside of themselves and are using energy in manipulative and egotistical ways, never actually solving an insufficiency within inside of themselves, meaning they don't actually manifest shit at all. They do here and there and blah, blah, blah. But as I say, plans don't work out. I've seen many plans fail. Many, 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 many. Even many of my own plans failed. My plans continued to fail until I learned how to go inside of myself and prioritize the most important thing, which was my emotional body, my spirit, my soul, my state of being right now. I said to myself, this is my priority. I am my priority. And I have to prioritize my healing above all else. Because what I value is not having to live within a horrible state of mind and experience of pain, regret, remorse, guilt, shame, etc. You don't want to live like that. So, I may be rough and tough on the surface, which is okay. I've had to be. Because at the end of the day, it's energy. I feel anger. I feel whatever I need to when I need to. I don't wish to continually be angry. And I only wish to get angry at things that I should be angry at, like, all the bad stuff happening in the world. Anything other than that, like if you're not evil and you're not killing children and shit and doing totally fucked up shit, then, you're okay. So, yeah, this is just a personal message because we get so wrapped up with the outside world that we forget about our inside world and we take it for granted and advantage. We hide from our own feelings. Like, you gotta feel what you gotta feel. Like, if you've been through some shit, like, you gotta feel it and get through it, you know? And focus on love of God that will heal it and getting guidance from God. You can pray to get guidance from God, and you can pray to get more of that clarity, and you'll get it. You can pray to get healing as well, and assistance and guidance. But you must learn to feel so that when it comes, you can feel that it's coming, and that you know that it's there, and that your mind's not playing games with you and second guessing. But you got to use that heart of yours. The heart is so important. Your ability to feel is so important. It will determine where you lead to and where you're supposed to go. But if we're in our head and our ego and all of these things, we will not have the clarity required in order to be able to feel what is true in terms of who it is and what it is that we are, and life itself flows through you. So, I haven't given up hope on humanity. I have a lot of hope in humanity. But they need to learn to prioritize emotions of themselves. If you prioritize your own emotions, you will prioritize the emotions of others. If you can value your own emotions and the stuff you've been through, you can value others' emotions and the stuff it is that they've been through. And then humans can start to engage and interact with each other in a way where they feel free to be themselves and not pretending to be something else, committing to more self-destructive behavior. It's just causing more emotional damage than good, ultimately. So, let's listen to some music, I think. Yeah, number one thing, be happy, guys, but you're not going to find happiness in this fake world. You got to go inside of yourself, and you all deserve to be happy. So you actually owe it to yourselves in order to do this, what I'm telling you. You owe it to yourself to look after yourself and to discover yourself. And don't get wrapped up in the illusion. Find the truth within you. Don't behave based on illusion. Behave based on truth. Find truth within you. And then you'll find the truth you need. It's really actually that simple. So, let's find some music. With music, it's interesting because my content changes daily because my perception of reality expands and changes daily. So let's see what we got. Great Sunday. Nice rainy weather. With my two birds. I got two birds now. Yeah, 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 yeah. Floating on another cloud. Just trying to tell you how it is. Sad, I just dreams. I'm just trying to tell you that I got a please. Every single part of me that's flowing through just a little bit of this light. I keep on shining bright. Hey, keep on flowing with a little bit of love. I'm just trying to tell you how it is. I step up, flowing with the light, tron and the genius I need. I'm just trying to tell you what it is that I come to see. Hey. Put me on the track, cause I'm coming back. I'm just trying to tell them that my life keeps on elevating, perforating. Got me feeling like I got to keep on perforating. Feel whole entire new sensations. I keep on emanating. Yeah. This love keeps creating new rounds. Who's inside of my heart? I keep it hidden, but now I know I just gotta keep on being smitten like another motherfucking cosmic kitten, flowing through the whole entire scenes that has been written. Cause I know that cosmically I keep on shining all this light, shining like I got to know that I'm just so bright, moving through with a little bit of yeah, magic on the track, cause I'm back. Cause I'm teaching every single bit, and every single bit of the memory floating through my whole entire existence. Can't you see? I've been just resonating with the super duper infinite like energy floating through me. I'm just trying to be free. Can't you see? I just wanna be. I'm coming back. I'm just trying to let them know. I keep on flying and I flying with a little bit of energy inside of my life. I'm trying to let these other motherfuckers know that I'm bright. I got to shine.